Here we go. Let's do this.
We've got one life, one shot. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? Addicted to Betterment, a podcast to inspire us to keep going, to try something new, to dream, to think big, bigger, to overcome. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Hey, David, have you ever heard of that saying, the obstacle is the way? I've been thinking about that a lot lately as we're living a path in which I'm like, okay, as long as that's true, as long as that stands true, this is all going to work out just fine. So David and I had recently shared our topic around growth mindset. And at first when we were sharing it, I came to the table like, yeah, I think there might be like a couple things like I could get out of this. I'm just going to share all these things I know. So humility alert. There were so many things that I took away from that. I feel like sometimes we get like tunnel vision on certain topics and we forget the grander vision or components of what all is included in that. And so part of the growth mindset topic was around like stepping outside your comfort zone, which I don't feel like I have trouble necessarily with that part, but just like believing we can and just staying the course and staying positive and all these things, on the pursuit of wherever we're going. And I think recently, like I stepped outside my comfort zone with you, David, and just have been struggling. But the thing that brings me back is I'm like, obstacle is the way, obstacle is the way. So little story here. David and I operate from like vision boards and seeing our future and doing annual planning and writing it all down and thinking really big and stretch goals and writing out a manifestation list. And so we took a big leap to get involved with a property on a lake that we didn't really know at the time, like what it was going to be other than like, this is the first step. Hey, we'll just go out there and sit around the campfire. And then it's like, hey, well, we might as well get an RV, used RV, nothing like some fancy rig, like it's getting by for out there. And we're very grateful for it. But it was like, we wanted to stay out there more. And so we've got this RV out there. And well, we wanted to make sure that this property was on water. So, I mean, could we be out there without a boat? Like, no, we got to get a boat. So let me just say that the past few months of our lives have been so enjoyable, living out a version of living on a large property with water and trees and all this. And we're doing it in a way that's like stair stepping in, but like the stair steps are growing super, super fast. And then all of a sudden, we start to have these deep conversations around the pros and cons of, not just moving down there. Like, let's just sell everything and just go ahead and like go all in. I mean, we only got one shot, right? And, we don't have that many years left. We're like middle-aged now. I don't even know how that happened, but we are. So what the heck? Let's just put the house up for sale. I'll call my friend Nathan, our friend Nathan, and like, we'll get this going. So now we have a for sale sign in our yard. We have this property. We're trying to figure out, we don't even have water. Half the time we feel like we're like Amish down there. Nothing wrong with Amish. We're just like inspired by like how they do it, like with no running water or, electricity or whatever. And we're like, screw it. We love it down there. Let's just sell the house and we'll just figure it out. So here we are in the middle of like embracing uncertainty and just embracing like the obstacle is the way. Here we go.
Nikki, it's funny when you started sharing the start of the journey, when we started this journey, and I was sharing this exact story in a business talk I was having earlier today. And one of the people in the business meetings spoke up and said, I just don't see you being a camper. I just don't see you being a camper. And I said, wait, what if I told you I've actually went from Thursday to Monday without even showering? And and this is coming from someone who loves showers. I mean, if I could,
3 times a day, like when I shower 3 times a day, I'm like, babe, like, man, the towel game. Like, can you at least use the same towel? Showers, like, dang.
And here I am now on this camp, this property that we have. It's a slice of heaven, and it's incredible and beautiful in nature. But in this process of overcoming the obstacles, now I find myself on Monday thinking, oh, dang, I've not showered since Thursday morning or Friday morning. How's that even possible? So no judgment, please, for those of our friends listening to this. But I did actually throw my beautiful, gorgeous wife under the bus. And I said, I'm not even sure she showered since like Tuesday. So
You know what? I'm like, hey, I got to get up, be efficient. I don't have to see anybody today. I don't need to take a shower. David's like, I'm too in and I'm just working on the screen. So we're very different in that. But I think our shower game has been about equal lately.
yeah, the lake serves as our shower. But it's great what we're talking about, just overcome obstacles to pursue the dream or to pursue the thing, or when the vision or the why is bigger and more powerful than the obstacle in the way or the challenge. And so, man, that we just shared to kick this off is a very loud example of me, someone who just I cannot even fathom going a day without taking a shower, ideally at least two. And here I am just enjoying life because it's the bigger vision. It's the why. It's the joy of that's much bigger than that. So, wow. I hadn't thought about it until we just started this episode. I think I need to go take a shower now.
Yeah. Use up all the amazing water in our house while you can. Before the for sale sign went in our yard, I was sharing with David. I'm like, if there's any time in life to embrace an experiment, it's now, right? Like, might as well. We're healthy. We have the ability. Like, we both work remote for the most part. Like, we'll figure it out. It'll just be like a fun experiment. And if it doesn't work, well, we'll figure it out. And until that for sale sign went in the yard, and that was like a dose of reality. I was like, oh my gosh, like started to have a panic moment. I was going to bed. I was like, I'm going to be up all night tonight because of my heart is racing. Like, I just feel like, are we crazy? Like, are we crazy? So thank God.
Yes, we are.
Thank God we have like the ability to weigh each other out sometimes, or like bring each other back to equilibrium, because I was laying in bed. I'm like having a straight up panic attack, I think. And David's like, hey, why don't we look at some of like the lists that we made about why we're doing this? Because we didn't just like flippantly do this. We've talked about it. Granted, most people might talk about it for a couple of years or a couple of weeks, but we did talk about it quite a bit and went through our pros and cons, and really all the things kept pointing to like, it's not that we don't love where we are, but where we want to go is like truly the dream that we have. Like, we both feel more grounded there. We feel at peace. Like, it just slows our lives down. Just so many things that we're winning on the pro side. There wasn't that many cons. And it's like, we're not that far away. It's like an hour and a half, like one way. And we have this, from the day that it was on my vision board that I wanted to have this remote place, like so much of that was about hosting other people. And I'm like, with technology right now, like I can stay in touch with people as long as I do my part in making sure that I stay up with people that I care about. And then we host people out there, which is what I've always wanted. And they can get like a retreat weekend. Like, we're going to build this place so that we have space for them and be able to just treat people that we love and, out to our property and just enjoy the time. Right. So coming back to that, David is like, let's look at the list and all those things. And then we start looking at pictures of the types of, structures we want to build. Cause like our first building will be like a support building with a garage and like a apartment off to the side, which will serve as like a guest house. Seeing that. And then we started to get ideas for what the house would look like. And I will tell you that within 20 minutes, my panic went away. I was excited. I was able to go to sleep. And I was like, David, this is the greatest illustration of having a vision. Like, when you are locked into your dream and you see the future, when you can't see it, you're going to be full of anxiety and uncertainty. But when you lock in and you see it, and you see it, not just in your mind, but you're looking at it. That's the power of a vision board and writing things down. We were reflecting on the notes that we shared, and I was fine within 20, 25 minutes. So it's like the challenge is not just like challenging us that we're crazy. We already know that. But like, how do you apply these things in your life to, supersede the challenges and be able to like walk into the future confidently because you can clearly see where you're going?
Wow. That is, man, you hit that out of the park, Nikki. And I'll tell you what, it's, I'm wondering as we start this episode, how many of our friends, how many of our listeners have a dream, have a goal, have this, maybe it's the lake house, maybe it's the bucket list vacation, maybe it's starting the business, maybe it's quitting the job and starting a business and that you've always dreamed of. Even as you're young, you want to do this thing, or you've talked about buying the boat or the dream car or whatever it is. And how many people have these things in their head and they're like, man, and they just never go after it. And I tell you what, it's interesting because the power of what you just said of getting clear on your vision, really getting clear and having a vision, because the reality is that scenario that you described when you were in a little bit of panic mode and, certainly, feeling a little overwhelmed with anxiety, and what calmed that and what got you excited was just getting back to being clear on your vision, getting back to the why. What was the why behind that got us on this journey? Because we got really clear on the why, and it's a good thing, because I'm pretty sure if we had run up to the obstacles before we got really clear on the why, we'd have said, hell no, let's get out of this now while we have some sanity and a couple dollars left. Because I mean, at the end of the day, once you get clear on the why and the vision, and you're like, man, this lake house, and to your point, this vision that we have of having our friends and our family and hosting meaningful moments, creating meaningful memories, a lot of laughter and joy. And even as I say it, I can picture, all the sound of laughter and our friends and our kids and all the things, just laughing and having fun together out on the boat or by the fire, cooking meals by the fire. And once you get clear on that, then all the obstacles that we faced, and they've been many, and the expenses and the things that are unexpected. And next thing you know, you're like, holy cow, I got to hide my credit card. I got to hide my wallet. I got to not answer the phone because we cannot take another expense. But the why is so much stronger than the challenge. And it's being clear. It's having a crystal clear vision of what you want. And then, man, when that is strong and you stay connected to that, it drives your actions. That is what drives and fuels your actions.
And I think, the adversity that you face during the times of, like, right now, like the uncertainty and just, kind of letting doubt creep in or whatever, when you go back to the dream and back to the vision, like there's so much motivation that comes with that to inspire you. It's like, okay, reminding ourselves, like, we are doing this for a reason. We already love our lives. Like, we already love it here, but we also know, like, time's a ticking. And if we're wanting to do what we've said that we want to do for as long as we've known each other, like, you got to take a step sometime, because every time that you're not taking a step, it's just, just sitting out there waiting still. And it's, we had talked about that growth mindset component, and it's getting outside your comfort zone, like taking action on things. And, I think there's a really loud example of a growth mindset, but more than anything, it's helping us to stay focused on seeing the end result, like in the midst of, like, where are we going to live while this is getting built? And like, before we have water and all that. And it's like, but who cares? Like, it's okay. Like, it's okay. We're not going to stay here forever. We love our home, but on the other side, like, that is so much motivation that the messy middle, it's okay. Like, we're going to be able to thrive through it. Now, I might need to phone a friend, some of you listeners, during the time to, like, I might have days of believing it. But like, there's so much motivation in the, like, adversity that you face while going after your dream,
Man, that's good. And, I think to add on to that, getting super connected to the deeper meaning. I've recently had the opportunity to lead business owners through a vision settings, experience. And it's interesting. Every single business owner wants to start with the revenue number. And they're like, oh, I want to get to this revenue number. And I have to say, hang on. There's nothing about that revenue number that's going to get you out of bed and make you overcome obstacles and keep you fired up. That number isn't going to mean anything. What's the why behind that number? And I tell you what, to watch a 30-some year business owner who's about to set, when they start talking about the deeper why, about what this is going to do for their kids and what they want to do with their family and the experience and the dream vacations and the homes and the things that they want to have. I mean, you feel the energy change, and they suddenly, I mean, you're talking men that are strong, bold men, teary-eyed, because they're connected to the deeper meaning of the thing. And I think of this lake property that you're sharing. If it was just, because we want to have a fancy lake property and a fancy house, that would never be enough to make us overcome all the obstacles that we faced. It's the much deeper why that when you're connected to that, now it's like, hey, the nice home and the beautiful view and all the things, that's an end result. But the deeper why, when you get connected to that, the things that tug on your emotions, for me, it's my wife and kids. I mean, man, there are challenges that I'll overcome because of the deeper why. There are challenges that, in business, in work situations, I have faced some of the most stressful, frustrating, challenging things. And the reason why I push through and try to succeed is the deeper why. It's to build this life for my wife and kids and the things I want to create. And I think it applies to so many things when you really get connected to the deeper meaning of why you're trying to achieve the thing.
Totally. And as David was describing earlier, like the potential of this being like super glamorous and all that is not at all there. It is a beautiful nature filled property, like beautiful trees. Like we're talking rock, gravel, not even grounding, right? We're talking tree stumps as the sitting posts around a fire pit. We're talking a lot of bugs. I'm constantly looking for snakes. Very scared about that because my dog is always chasing things, and I'm like, oh my god, the snake popped up like she could die. So there are a lot of things that don't make it anywhere near glamorous, and I could keep going on. Oh, an outhouse. We go to the bathroom in an outhouse, by the way. It is kind of cool. An outhouse. I want to put stream lights up and all that. Well, our RV does have a toilet in it, but we also don't have water. So the outhouse is usually the one that wins. So as I painted that picture, you're like, what are you doing? I know, clearly, I think sometimes we're crazy, but I'm also like, if we love it so much out there that we're willing to sell our house that we love so much, that we say is our respite, our, peace-filled place, we love our home. We talk about it all the time. If we're willing to sell our house to go in this place that I just described, I'm pretty sure that if we love it right now and we are willing to sell our house that is completely done, I can't even imagine what we are going to feel down the road. And you started to go that place, David. And I think, when you think about dreams, you think about your future, it's can you see it? Can you feel it? You were saying, laughing, people laughing, you could see the house, you could, this beautiful property, the future state, you have to be able to see past the now to be able to continue the climb towards the dream. Otherwise, it's just I would say a tactical effort, right? You're not going to sustain going through all the things without your house and your running water and having to move and all that stuff unless you can see it and you can feel it. And it's really real. And that's the key to anything. It's the key to growing your business to the place that you want. That's not just the revenue number. It's how will I feel working every day? I want to be able to wake up and feel this way. It's not just the numbers, but what does it do to allow me to show up and be a better person? Because of the way I feel, the state of being much more peaceful. I, have much better work life hours, and I am, more flexible in my schedule, all the things. And so dreams, we have to see them, we have to feel them. Otherwise, you're not going to continue the pursuit of climbing the mountain to get there.
Man, that's good. And that applies to so many things, Nikki. It's interesting as you were talking, it was resonating with me because I was thinking, let's say you're a salesperson and you're trying to, you get rejection, and you're discouraged. Sometimes you got to pause and feel what that's going to feel like when you achieve the number or you get the bonus or you get the deal. You feel it. And when you feel it and what that's going to do for your life, or let's say it's a fitness goal and you're discouraged because sometimes that is so freaking hard. You're doing the work and you're trying to eat right and you're not seeing the results and you get discouraged, or maybe you have a couple cheat days and you get down on yourself. Sometimes you have to get reconnected to, hey, what's that going to feel like when I've lost the 20 pounds? Man, what's that going to feel like when I put the jeans on and they look different, they look better? and you get connected and feeling it. That what you said there is so powerful. And I hope our friends really just digest that and take that in, because when you get connected to the feeling, to what that feels like, what it feels like being out at the property and having our friends there and the fire, and it's so, when you feel it, that's the power, and it drives you harder. And let's just acknowledge that when you set those goals and when you feel it and you're like, okay, I'm going, the absolute 100% certainty is that there will be obstacles, period. So let's just, if you go into it knowing that, look, I'm trying to lose the weight, I'm trying to achieve the goal, I'm trying to start the business, I'm trying to buy the property, there's going to be obstacles. It's not going to go smooth. There's going to be obstacles. So talk to us about that, Nikki. When you go into it knowing there's going to be obstacles, understanding that, embracing it, how do you embrace it?
Yeah, I think it's a daily practice. You wake up in the morning with, the work on yourself, your morning routine, doing the things to put good things in your head and setting the tone for the day and reminding yourself like why you're doing what you're doing. I put everything in a journal. I also have like notes on my phone. So whether my journal's with me, my phone's usually always with me. So just centering myself in the morning, how I start my day is really important. Sometimes I feel like mornings start faster than others, and we don't necessarily have maybe like kids, interact with us earlier than what we thought, or we got up a little bit late. How can you incorporate like some go-to centering, like listening items, like certain people that you listen to or meditation stations or whatever, while you're taking a shower, while you're driving, while you're exercising, just to be able to incorporate that if you don't get that time in the morning? Because I think what I've found is if I don't have that daily practice, because something threw it off, I still have to have the daily practice. It just might be an hour later. It might be, not my very first thing when I get up, but early to start your day. I think it's so important to get your mind right. And then I think, back to our episode about the growth mindset, in our situation right now, people definitely are telling us we're crazy, right? Like yeah, I get it. I understand. And as soon as we start to explain, like, here's why, and once people hear that out, not that we need to prove it to anybody, but it's like, if the naysayerness still continues, you have to eliminate the voices around you that are like knocking down your dreams. It's going to happen. Like anytime you have big dreams, like it's going to happen that people are going to come in and try to knock those down or remind you like what you did in the past, like, would keep you from going there, why this is such a stupid idea. And you have to stay strong and keep a great support system around you. Do your best to just be super confident in how you respond. And just know that like the only reason why someone would be doing that is because they're like insecure or need to control or whatever. And so I think just planning for the practice every day. How do you set yourself up for success, and how do you navigate the, I don't know, no other way to say it than like the naysayers or the critics, and stay on course because you know what you want. But unless you did that backwards, if you woke up, you didn't do your practice, somebody says something early in the day, it's a very different version of how you're going to show up if you didn't prepare yourself for that on a daily basis, really strengthening the core of who you are.
Wow. What you just described perfectly was the power of perspective. When you have the right perspective and you've worked on your mindset, working on your mindset and keeping everything in perspective. I recently had a friend who shared a story about, he was driving in Chicago with his father, and the Sears Tower, as we all know, is one of the key figures, buildings, skyscrapers in Chicago. And he said his father told him to put his thumb up in front of his eyes as a little 9-year-old kid. And he put his thumb up and he drew it back to his eye, and it completely blocked out the Sears Tower. His little thumb as a 9-year-old kid blocked out the Sears Tower. And his dad said, okay, now push your thumb back out. And then when he pushed his thumb back out, the ginormous building of the Sears Tower, he could see it. And he's like, that is the power of perspective. When you don't have your perspective, your thumb seems like it's bigger than the Sears Tower. So at the end of the day, just the power of having the right perspective and understanding what the reality is, because often the challenges or the situation seems much bigger in the moment than it is. And just keeping perspective and working on your mindset, as you just described so perfectly, is there's so much power in that.
All right. So just in the midst of experiencing the climb towards my dream, David's dream, our dream together right now. And the experience that we had as, I was laying in bed and having a panic attack around the choices that we're making. I'm like, are we doing the right thing? And it was like 20 minutes that it took in order to come back to center around why we're doing this and to be able to be calm and at peace, because I was back to like why we're doing this. We have spent the time on this, starting to see the vision, starting to feel it. And I would just encourage you, like, number one, I recommend making sure that you're pursuing dreams. Like, if you don't have dreams that you're going after, like, that is so important. Like, be pursuing dreams, because this time is a ticking so fast. And so going after your dreams is so important. And then just in the midst, depending how big the dreams are, like, I guess small dreams, big dreams, I mean, all of them have scariness to them, right? There's big steps you have to take to be able to get there. And so just staying focused on what it is that you're going for, believing in yourself, having your growth mindset to apply, and surrounding yourself with great people. And if you're like me and you have a bonus great person that's your husband, it makes it so much easier. So I just encourage you to go chase those things and keep climbing, and believe in yourself and continue to see it and feel it.
Let's go.
So you just listened to this episode. Now, join us in being addicted to betterment. Please subscribe to the show, share with your friends, tag us, and please take a moment, leave a review. Yeah, we do want your stars, but we really want the feedback.